actually meant to film this like a while ago. I meant to film this in like September. My battery's dying. Oh my gosh, today's not a good day. Hold on one second. Okay, we're back. Okay, so I meant to film this in September, but I didn't because I don't know why. Just things happened. I'm doing laundry again. I know what you're thinking right now. Does she only do laundry when she's about to film? Yes. Because this is when I have a break. I'm sorry. One day I won't have laundry to do, but unfortunately this weekend I am cleaning all of the bed sheets, all of the blankets, all of the clothes. Everything has to get washed this weekend because I said so. We're cleaning the energy in the air, okay? So there's gonna be a huge clean this weekend, and so that's why I'm trying to film this now and get this video out. I had another video planned for this weekend. Unfortunately, it's just not gonna work out because I really need to focus on redoing my entire house. So it's gonna take me a while. So I'm just gonna film this real fast and then put it up there, and I meant to film it last month anyways. I didn't, so here we are. I have a ton of fall recommendations for you guys. I have them sorted. I have like a random pile over here of I don't know how to classify these books. And then I have piles over here. I have some like spiritual books. I also have some romance books. I have some YA fantasy series and standalone books. I have another YA book and I have a middle grade book. So I have a lot of books. I don't even know how many there are, but there's quite a few. So I think we'll save this one for last because it's the epitome of fall, if you know what I mean. So we'll save that one for last. I think we'll just start off with the spiritual books and knock this out of the way because there's only 4. I was thinking about it and I feel like fall is a really good time for people to get their life in order for like winter and stuff like that. I feel like in summer I want to enjoy the warm weather. I live in Maine, and so it's like once it's winter, you're indoors. You're not going outside. And so I like to take advantage of nice weather as much as I can and be outside. And it's not really like a stay in and be studious time for me. It's more of like learn outdoors type of thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm gardening, I'm taking care of animals and stuff like that. I like to go on walks. I like to hike. I like to do all of those things. And that is pretty much my time to learn hands-on, whereas winter is my time to read books and learn intellectually. So I have 4 books here that I think were absolutely incredible and definitely monumental reads in my life that helped me along my journey. So we'll start with this one. This is called Get Your Life Back, and it's by John Eldredge. This is a really great, quick read. Honestly, like, it's such a fast read. You could read this in a couple hours. I don't recommend reading it in a couple hours because I think there's some things in here that you should take time to really process and study out. But I think this is such a great book for many, many instances where you're really focusing on the minute details, like getting schedules, learning how to create new habits, all of that kind of stuff. It's very similar to Atomic Habits in the sense that it does help you learn new habits. They have this thing called the 1-minute pause, which I love. I love the 1-minute pause, and basically you have your day and it's very hectic and things are happening, and then you literally just set a timer for 1 minute and you just think of gratitude, and that's just all you do. You just stop, you set a timer for 60 seconds, and you think of the number of things that you can be grateful for of that day. I do recommend this book for people who are trying to get their life back, to be less negative, be more positive. This is a great book for that. I will say all of these books do have Christian undertones. I am a Christian, so these books have that. I recommend this one though. I think another great book to read in the fall is this book. It's called When Striving Cease by Ruth Cho Simmons, and this was a great book for me to read. It is an autobiography, so it is kind of just her story that she's telling you, but I felt like I got so much out of this. So I listened to this on audiobook and I got the physical book, but I would read the physical as I listened to the audio. I find that when I read nonfiction, it is much easier for me to understand it if I have an audio and I read the physical copy. So I do recommend that. But this book was really good because she talks about striving in grace and being graceful even when you're angry or upset, like how to stay graceful throughout it. And that was something that really impacted my life, and how I can look at really hard situations and still be graceful throughout them, and still, I don't want to look back. There's many times where I look back on what I said and how I said it, and I cringe because I'm like, I did not look like a very good person in that moment. Even just recently, this past weekend, there are many things that I have said that I'm just like, that could have been said better. And this book just really helps you get back on track with that. So I do recommend this book for any of the women out there. This is really just for girls. I wouldn't recommend this to a guy. But it just really was a great read. It's very interesting. It goes on the story of her life and her hardships and her troubles and just what she did to stay graceful throughout it all. So do recommend this one. Another book that I recommend also for women, and you can really read this if you are married, if you are single, anytime, but it is a devotional. So it's a weekly devotional. I did not do them every week. I did them every day. So I did 31 days instead of, 13 days instead of 13 weeks. I think it's supposed to be 13 weeks. Hold on, let me just double check. So it's 13 weeks. I did it in 13 days. Just for me personally, the weeks were so short that I could do it in a day, and it didn't feel like spending a week on it would be beneficial to me. I felt like I got more just doing it daily. If you need to do it weekly, that's totally fine. I do recommend you getting into a group of women and going over it together. So the book is called, you're probably like, what is the book? It's called Far Above Rubies by Brenda Leavenworth, and this is a Proverbs 31 guide. And so it goes through the Proverbs 31 woman, what all of that entails, what it means. It defines certain terms. There's certain parts of the Proverbs 31 woman that I'm like, I don't get this. Like, I thought that biblically the man is supposed to do that, and it explains what it means for a woman. So I really, really, really loved this. I thought it was great, and I think that if you are someone who is trying to grow as a woman and step into that womanhood, I think this is a great book for you. It definitely taught me a lot of things, and again, it goes through the Proverbs 31 woman, so if that is something that you are interested in, I definitely recommend this one. And then my final spiritual book, which I have talked about before, I think I talked about it in my top 10 most recommended video. This is The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. I really recommend anything by C.S. Lewis. I just finished Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, but the Screwtape Letters is just a whole different mindset because it goes into your thinking, and it goes into how your thinking shapes your day, shapes your characters, shapes everything. And I really, really love this. It is kind of like a fictional read because it's just a letter between two demons back and forth. It's a letter between two demons, and they're talking about how to get this guy from being a good person. And there's this one part that I think about a lot where it was like, make him focus on something that's not even a big deal. Like, make him so focused on it that that's all he can think about, and he can't even think about the bigger picture. And I think that happens a lot, at least with me. I will get in the moment and I'll get mad in the moment, and I won't even think about the consequences of the future. I won't even think about the repercussions of the future. And so I will just be so focused on it. And that's something that I'm really trying to work on, is I'm really trying to grow in this. I'm trying to figure out a way to sit in my anger, but also use it productively, and to grow from it, and to learn from it, and to understand that tomorrow's problems are tomorrow's problems. I can't create more today. So I do recommend this book. It was a very interesting book. There's a lot of good quotes. I highlighted almost every single page of this book is highlighted in some way, shape, or form. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I highly, highly, highly recommend this book, especially if you are trying to figure out how to rework your thoughts. I recommend this. Which should I go on to? Oh, let me go to the, okay. So I have one book that's middle grade. It is Wildwood. This is Wildwood, and it's by Colin Malloy and Carson Ellis. This is a thick puppy. She's a middle grade. She's thick. She is such a fun read. It is not a quick, easy read. Well, it's an easy read, but it's not a quick read. It's not a quick read by any means. She's a thick girl. But it's so fun, and I really liked this book. I had such a good time reading it, and I really loved the characters. It is about this girl whose baby brother gets kidnapped, and she has to go into these woods to save him. And she brings, well, I don't think she really brings him. He just kind of follows her with her friend, and they get separated, and he goes on to the rebel side. It's a whole thing. There's so much that happens. There's talking animals, there's magic. It's so fun of a read. It does give a lot of Labyrinth vibes. If you remember the movie The Labyrinth, it gives a lot of those vibes, but it was so good. It was so cute. I really liked the ending. There's 2 more books in this because it's a series. I haven't read the other 2 books yet. I don't know if I'm gonna read the other 2 books. These are thick girls. They're thick. They're one of those things that you're like, okay, you have to like dedicate time. You have to dedicate time. So I don't know, but I do recommend it. And then I have one more that I just have one book for, and it's a YA. I think this is such a great fall read, and it is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is the book that started me into reading. I really loved this book. I think it's such a great, perfect fall book. It's about this girl. She has to write a class assignment, so she decides to write about this murder that happened. She doesn't believe that the facts are all there, and so she goes to uncover things. It's very good. I don't know who this girl's parents are that is allowing her to do these things, and I don't know who her teachers are who are allowing her to do these things, but it happened. It definitely happened. But it was very entertaining. It was very good. I really loved it. I love a good whodunit, and I liked that it was just like I love thriller books, and I love mysteries and whodunits for adults, but I don't know, I feel like YA just does it better at times, you know? Because I feel like this had me on my toes and had me gobbling it down, and at the same time, I wasn't like, oh, can I not read this at night? You know what I mean? I don't know. I felt good about reading this one. It was fun. It was a great read. I do recommend it. There are more books in the series. I didn't read those. I don't even have them. But if you are interested, absolutely go forth in the series. I decided not to, just because I had heard that it's basically the same story, just different font. So I decided to pass. But I do recommend this one. Should I just continue with the YA stuff? Let's do that. So I have a pile right here. I have this pile, and some of these are series. So they're not all like standalone. Some of these are series. So let me figure this out. We'll start because this is on top. This is the Shadow and Bone series. I think this is a perfect fall read. It's fantasy, it's YA. I read all 3 books. I liked all 3 books. I guess disclaimer, not all of these are 5 stars. I don't give a lot of 5 stars. I give a lot of 3 stars because in my opinion, a lot of books are 3 stars. 3 stars is not a bad rating to me. 4 stars, I really enjoyed that book. 5 stars, I'm rereading that book every chance I get. I'm talking about that book every chance I get. 3 stars is, I recommend this. It was really good. It was very entertaining. I probably won't ever reread it, but I did like it. I did enjoy the time. I had a good vibing time with it. 2 stars is more of like, I don't understand why this book was written, but it was okay. And then 1 star, I do not recommend this book, okay? So that's my rating. I think these books got a 3 star. If you want a good vibe for fall, these are the books that you want to read. These were such a fun read. I really did enjoy the conflicts in it. I don't really know how to explain the books. The series follows these 2 orphans, and there's powers. One of the orphans is very ordinary and boring, and the other one is not. And there's this bad guy named the Darkling. There's a lot of moments where you're kind of rooting for him to get the girl, even though he's definitely evil. You're kind of rooting for him. I feel like this was a lot of tension. It was pretty good. And then I also read Girls of Paper and Fire. This was not a bad book. It wasn't my favorite again, but it's not a bad book. There are, I think, 2 more books in this series. I haven't read the other 2, but these books were pretty interesting, where there's humans and then there's these like demonic animals, I guess. I'm not really sure how you would describe them. The king is supposed to marry a human girl, or he's supposed to take her as a concubine, I think. Something like that, and she's supposed to give him an heir. I feel like that's what it is. I can't remember 100%, but it was very interesting. I would 100,000,000% check trigger warnings if you need to check trigger warnings. If you are a person that's like, you know, there's some tropes that I really can't do, 100%, because there is SA in this, and I would just be careful with that. There is a lot of SA in this. So definitely check trigger warnings. There's a lot of abuse with women in this book. Please, 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 if you need to check trigger warnings, please do check trigger warnings, because this is not a book that literally anyone can pick up. I would not recommend this for everyone. It was overall good. I think the ending was pretty good. I kind of saw it coming, but I still was entertained. It was an entertaining read. This series, however, I did enjoy. I thought it was fun. I really liked it. I had a good time reading it. And that would be the Bone Witch series. I thought the Bone Witch was so good, especially the first one. The first one, at the ending, I was like, oh, I have to read the others. Like, absolutely have to. It was so good. So this is the Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco. I'm not sure how you say that. But Rin Chupeco, how do you even describe this? So this girl is a necromancer. She can deal with the dead. She's very powerful. People need her. They need her. But they don't want her because she deals with the dead. And it is not great. But their whole world is being under attack by this source that they're not sure where it's coming from. They don't know what's happening. The backstabbing throughout this book. I had trust issues. By the end of this, I had so many trust issues. But I did really like the romance that was in here as well. I did like the romance. That was cute. I liked that they fell in love not because they are enemies to lovers in that trope. They fell in love because they started to respect each other. And that was a good one. That was a good one. I really liked the romance. So I do recommend these. I'm sorry I didn't really explain them very well. I don't know how to explain them. There's a kingdom involved. They've got to save the prince. He's Sleeping Beauty. I don't know. It's weird like that. She gets blamed for it too. It's so dark and twisted, and there's so much involved in it. I don't know how to explain all of it very well without giving away certain plot twists. So I don't want to do that. If you are interested in reading these books, though, I would read them. If you want something dark and creepy but YA, I would read these. These were. And then another series that, okay, I'm going to say the series, but I only recommend one of the books, if that makes sense. And that would be the Kingdom of the Wicked series. I really only recommend this one. I don't know. This was the one that, it's the first one. And it was good. It was entertaining. I really liked it. I liked the ending of it. That was fun. The Kingdom of the Wicked series is about these twins. One of them dies. in the very first couple pages. She does. And the other twin is like mourning and so sad and so devastated. And she kind of goes on this little quest to find out what happened to her sister. She accidentally calls upon the king of hell, and he is the Prince of Wrath. She accidentally calls upon him, and not only does she accidentally call upon him, she accidentally engages to him. Like, wait, no, that's not the word. She accidentally gets engaged. So they're supposed to get married. And she's like, I didn't mean to do that. And he's like, well, not like I want to be with you either. But it was very cute. It was fun. I do like the Italian setting. I do like the magic. I do like finding things out and going along the way and all of that stuff. I really liked this ending. I thought that was really good. And I really liked finding out all of the secrets in like the family. People are hiding stuff. It's a whole thing. I did like that. These are the only two that are YA. This one is so adult, it's not even funny. And then another book that I do recommend, this book has been everywhere. Everybody loves this book. I did a reading vlog on this book. It is, of course, Fourth Wing. I think you should read this book. I think you should read this book. It was very entertaining. The vibes were there. It was such a fun thing to read. It was so fun. I really liked it. I'm not gonna give away any information on like who I liked and who I don't like, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows. If you haven't read Fourth Wing, Where Have You Been? This book is so entertaining. It is about a girl who goes into this training school to ride dragons and be a dragon rider, and she meets some characters along the way. She makes some friends along the way. She loses a lot of people along the way. It was very entertaining though. I really liked the dragons. This is definitely somebody who is, this is a perfect book for somebody who is interested in fantasy, but primarily reads romance. I think this is a great transitional book because the fantasy in this book is so easy. It's so easy that if you took the fantasy out, this book still made sense and it still worked. So this is a great book for people who are just like getting into the fantasy but don't want high stakes or anything like that. I do think that some of the pacing could have been a little bit tighter, but overall I did very much like this. I thought the very end was very rushed, so I'm hoping that that gets extended in the second book. Right now, just the first book is out. Iron Flame comes out in November, so it's coming out next month. I would definitely read this so that you can read Iron Flame because it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Please, like, definitely do this. I think I gave this 3 stars, but it was really good. It was really, really good. I do recommend. And then I have this book. This is called House of Hollow. It's by Crystal Sutherland, and I still think about this book. Like, I still, every now and again, think about this book. This is such a good book, and if it's not 5 stars on my Goodreads, I need to change it to 5 stars because I still can't stop thinking about this book. There's certain things that I like to think, like, I don't like to think about it, but certain things will pop in my head, and I'll be like, wait a second. So this book follows these 3 sisters, and they are weird. Like, weird. To the point where their father keeps saying, you are not my daughters. Like, I don't know who you guys are, but you're not my daughters. And their mom is like weirded out. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So they're the Hollow sisters. Their oldest one is Gray Hollow, and then I forgot the other 2 names. Oh, so it's Gray, Vivi, and Iris. And they are weird, weird girls. But then Gray goes missing, and it's up to Vivi and Iris to find their sister because their mom's not going to help. She doesn't care. She's glad that Gray has gone missing. And things get uncovered. You learn stuff. It's so twisted. I mean, honestly, if you like a good twisted story, but still YA, still something that, like, there's no cursing in it, which I really love. That's what I love about YA, is that there's no cursing in it. This this is definitely a great book. You should definitely read this book. It is so, please just read this. Please just read this. Don't make me tell you what it's about. Just read it. Please just go read it, because the twist at the end, oh my gosh, I could not get over it. It was so good. It was so good. I still think about this book. Highly recommend. I had to put in Twilight. Of course I had to put in Twilight, because you can't have a fall without Twilight. I definitely recommend, well, let me use this version. I definitely recommend Twilight. Let me tell you why. Because Twilight is incredible. It is the epitome of fall. Twilight is fall. Okay, and if you don't think it's fall, then you're wrong. Okay, you cannot tell me that this book does not scream fall. It's so good. It's so good. Do I have to even explain what Twilight's about? I will. Okay. It's about this girl. She moves to Forks, Washington to live with her father. She meets this guy. He's so cool. He's so weird. He's so cold. Wait a second. He's a vampire. What? Completely weird. There's a golden onion involved. There's pixie cuts. There's all kinds. There's baseball. If you like baseball, you're gonna love Twilight, okay? There's so many great parts about Twilight. I recommend through and through, forever. Always recommend, okay? Twilight is the book of the series, of the century. This is gonna be the book that 30 years from now will be read in English class as great literature, okay? Like, it's so good. And yes, I have 2 copies of Twilight, because when I first got Twilight, this one didn't have a cover jacket, so I went and ordered another one with a cover jacket. So, yeah. Another YA series that I do recommend, it's fantasy, is The Red Queen. I do recommend this. This is by Victoria Aveyard, and it was very good. The twist was very twisty. I really liked this ending. It is about this girl who, the poor people do not have magic. They are not supposed to have magic. She accidentally has magic. Just accidentally has magic. And so the kingdom is trying to say, like, oh, she's actually not part of that poor family. So she's actually part of the elites, and whoops, we don't know how she was kidnapped or something. I don't know. And so she has these powers, and it is so interesting. She goes into this, I guess, battle arena where she has to fight the super elites who literally were raised with their powers. Like, they were raised to be powerful and to train and do all of these things. So when she goes into the battle arena, she's very much out of her league fighting against them. But it's so much more than that. The politics in this are insane. There's a little bit of a romance. There's a little bit of a betrayal. There's a little bit of everything. I do recommend this book. I will say, it is something that I would recommend you read not quickly, but like, don't set it down and walk away from this, because then you're gonna have to come back and re-familiarize yourself with a lot of things. So this is something that I recommend you sit down and read at least in like a week or something. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be super fast, but I would not, because there's stuff that happens that are important that you won't make the connection to later if you walk away, if that makes sense. Okay? And try not to give away anything, but just read it, okay? Just read it. Just take my word for it. The last book that I have in my YA fantasy fall series recommendations is Throne of Glass. I've only read Throne of Glass. This is the only book that I've read so far. I want to read the others in the series, but this is just the one that I've read thus far. I do recommend this. This is good. There's a lot of things that happen in here that I'm like, come on, why are we doing this? But I liked the romance. I liked the friendship. It is about this girl. She's an assassin. I am very confused because I have seen fan art and I am just confused. So there is a love triangle in this, which I don't agree with. I think we all know who the true good person for her to end up with is. So I'm kind of interested to see how that works out in the end. But overall, I do recommend, at least the first book is what I've read. I think this is going to be a good series, though. I imagine it would be a very good series. So I'm excited to see what the future holds. Okay, so we've gotten our YA out of the way. I think it is time to do some fall romances. I don't have many fall romance books to recommend, but I do have a couple. So first of all, we'll do some dark romance. I just have one book for dark romance, and that would be Crossed. I do have a video out with me reading this book. It was good. It's a Hunchback of Notre Dame retelling. It was very interesting. It's very dark. Please do not read this if you are not okay with dark romances. It is very intense, very, very, very intense. But I do recommend it. It was a good one. It's a good time. It's by Emily McIntyre. She has the Never After series, and she also has books. I have Hooked and Twisted. I don't remember. I mean, Hooked is obviously Peter Pan, but I don't know what Twisted is about. The retelling of. So, but I do recommend this. I do like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I really liked how she retold the story. The retelling would be if Frollo got Esmeralda. And it's good. It's very good. So, let me tell you, it's very good. I do want to let you know, though, that he is most certainly a bad guy, okay? Like, even though you're rooting for him, he is not a good person. Even in the end, okay? He doesn't change. He never changes. There's no morally gray about him. He is black. He's not a good person. So, but you do root for him, which may mean that you need therapy. I don't know. So, just take that with what you will. Another book that I read, this is The Borrowed Boyfriend. It's by Angela Casella. And this was such a fun read. It is about a girl who is trying to get back, not even get back, but like prove to her family and to her ex that she's fine. And so she hires these people to basically find her a fake boyfriend and get revenge on her ex, as well as make sure that her family kind of goes off her back. Her sister is very famous. Her sister is a movie star. And so her sister went, so how do I explain this? Let me start over. So she was supposed to get married, right? She goes down the aisle and her fiance goes, can't do it, leaves. So she goes to turn around and run away. She trips and falls and becomes a meme. And her sister, who is very famous, goes on a night show host to talk about it, and she's just like taking all of this attention for like the wrong reasons. And so her sister's like really mad about it, tells her famous sister, hey, I'm fine, I'm dating someone new. And so then she hires this agency, they give her a fake boyfriend, and they go through this whole thing about getting revenge on her ex and finding out a way to not only get revenge on him, but to basically like make sure the media knows that this was him, it was not her. And basically to just kind of get back at him, really, like ruin his reputation. It's good though. It's very funny. It's a rom-com. It's super cute. It's super funny. I really liked it. There's more books into the series. They are all on Kindle Unlimited. If you have Kindle Unlimited, I would definitely check these out. They were fun. They were fun books to read. Well, I haven't read the other two, but this one was a fun book to read. This was a very fun book to read. The other two follow her friends, their own little problems. It was cute. It was very cute. It was mucho cute. I liked it. Oh, it's the Fairy Godmother Agency series. Yeah, Fairy Godmother. Oh, it was so good. I do recommend this book. This book is, I don't think it's set in the fall, but it gives me fall vibes, if that makes any sense. And that would be In a Jam. And this is by Kate Canterbury. This book follows this girl. Her grandmother died and left her house in her will, but the stipulation is that she has to get married. And so she goes to the house. She comes across her childhood best friend who was in love with her in childhood, is still in love with her now. And she tells him, like, I have to get married in order to keep the house. I don't want to get rid of it. And he goes, well, I'll just marry you. So it's a marriage of convenience. and he has a kid, but it's not his kid, it's his niece. After, I think his sister passed away or his brother passed away. Somebody passed away in his family, and he has to take his niece. She's cute, she's fun. She was a little annoying at times, but she's cute and fun. There is a lot of spice in this. It is very, very spicy, and there's a lot that happens. I will say one thing that was annoying is that he kept using, I don't really like it when in a book the guy's like, my wife, even though like, you didn't really earn that, you know what I mean? Like, it's a marriage convenience. Yeah, she is your wife, but you didn't really earn the privilege of saying that. So, but they do obviously fall in love. This is a romance. This is a fun romance. And it gives me fall vibes because they go to like farmers markets together. He is in charge of like creating these jams. It's really fun. There's a lot of baking. It's fun. I recommend this for the fall. I think it's a cute fall book. So I do recommend Anna Jam. Obviously, I had to put this in here. It is the Ex-Hex. This is by Erin Sterling. This is a very fun book. It is about Vivian Jones, who is a witch, and she goes, she broke up with this guy, and her sister or her cousin, I think it's her cousin, they sit down and they put a hex on her ex, right? Just because like they broke up, she was so sad about it, so she puts a hex on him. Well, he comes back to town because he's hexed, and he's like, you need to undo this. So she doesn't know how to undo it. She didn't even know that it actually worked because it was just kind of a joke. So she didn't even like take it very seriously. So all of a sudden, the whole town is in chaos because of this hex that she put on her ex. And it's very fun. It's a cute rom-com. They have to work together. And it's very sweet. The ending was very sweet. I liked it. I liked the whole ride of this. So I definitely recommend this book. If you like a quick read, it's a quick one. If you want something to read on Halloween, this would be the book I would pick up. And then the last for romances is a series. And in this series, I'm going to say I don't think this is fall as well. However, it gave fall vibes. If that makes sense, it just felt fall. And that would be the Dreamland Billionaires series. I really loved this series. Okay, it goes in this. This is the order. Okay. I thought that the fine print was like such a fun book. I really like Sahara. I like Rowan. I like Zahara. She's so cute. She's so fun. I really, really liked her. I loved the story. I had a good time. I was kicking my feet. It was cute. It was fun. It's very Beauty and the Beast, but it was cute and fun, and I really, really liked it. Terms and conditions, I was fine with it. I really liked the ending. I liked how it got resolved. But for like the first 200 pages, Declan doesn't smile, and I'm just like, bro, lighten up. And then this one, The Final Offer. This is everybody's favorite. I do agree, it was very good. She's a big one. She's a little lengthier than the other two. For good reason. There's a lot that has to get into this story. It is the last one. I think Cal is my favorite brother. Zahara is my favorite female character. I liked Cal and Iris's friendship. I thought that was really cute. So I really like the characters for different reasons. I think book 3 is probably the best one. I still recommend reading the other 2 before you get to book 3. I have my qualms about this book. For instance, it's been 6 years. It's been 6 years. I will never get over that. However, I do still recommend it. It was a very good book. It deals with addiction though, so definitely if you struggle with addiction or if you are sensitive with other people who have been addicted in the past and come back into somebody's life, definitely like check those trigger warnings. There's also a child in this book that also, yeah, there's just a lot. I would definitely just look at the trigger warnings, make sure everything's fine with you. I do recommend this though. Please, yes. My foot's asleep, my foot's asleep. This is the last pile. This is my pile, I would say, is like the epitome of fall vibes. And I definitely would recommend for fall. Any type of fall. If you're looking for like a romantic fall, a spooky fall, a thriller fall, any kind of fall you're looking for, these are the books that I would absolutely, hands down, they scream fall in every format. The first one I will say is The Night Circus. This is by Erin Morgenstern. This was a great book for the vibes. Don't read it for the plot. Just read it for the vibes. It was a fun vibe. I really liked it. It was a little confusing a lot of the time. So once again, don't read it for the plot. Just read it for the vibes. I really liked this. I did read her other book, The Starless Sea. Also read it for the vibes. I would include that in this list, but I preferred this one over The Starless Sea. Read it for the vibes. When I tell you to read it for the vibes, do not read it for the plot, because you will get very angry with the ending because it's the dumbest thing you've ever heard. Don't read it for the plot, just read it for the vibes, okay? Just read it for the vibes. It is about two magicians who are fighting to the death. They have to like create an exhibit using their magic. They don't know who each other are though. That's another thing. They don't know who the other magician is. They just know they're in this competition. And one of them has to die. I don't know how to explain that. It's fun. There's like this one where one of the magicians creates this like, these like flowers and they're, I don't know, it's the vibes. Just read it for the vibes, okay? Just read it for the vibes. Don't read it for anything other than the vibes. This book I actually just put in my September wrap up. It is The Book Charmer. I'm putting it in here. I'm putting it in here. This is fall. This is as Gilmore Girls fantasy fall as you can get. This was cute. This was very cute. I liked it. I had a really good time. If you don't know what this book is about, I do explain it in my wrap up. But basically, there is this family. She's a librarian. She has magic powers. She's trying to help save her town. She needs the assistance of this other woman who is very grumpy and does not want to be her friend, but they end up being friends along the way. And she has to help her save the town, but she doesn't even know if she wants to be in that town. It's a whole thing. This is Mexican Gothic. It's by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This was such a cool book. She gets a letter from her newlywed cousin. She goes to sort things out. She starts to find that things that they are saying are not adding up and don't make any sense whatsoever. And so she has to kind of figure out what happened to her cousin, what's happening to the women that this family marries. Okay, that's it. I can't give you any more. Just, it's a good vibe though. It's creepy, but it's a good vibe. The other book that I think is kind of similar to Mexican Gothic, if you've already read Mexican Gothic and you liked it, you're gonna like this book. This is The Hacienda, and this is by Isabel Canas. And this book is about this girl. So her family is very poor. Her father was part of a rebellion and he got executed. They burned down their house. She used to be very wealthy and now she is like lower than low. Her family doesn't talk to her anymore because she got married to the opposite side. So her dad was in the rebellion. She marries the opposite of the rebellion. She marries him. He's very wealthy. She goes home with him. And it's weird. Weird things just happen. Just weird things happen. The house is alive, very much alive. And she's having these nightmares. She's trying to uncover what happened to his first wife. And she learns a lot of things along the way. He has a sister that lives there, but will not live in the house. Like, she will not live in the house. She will live in like this like guest house on the property. It's creepy. There's a priest that comes in and it's very weird. There's a lot of weird things that happen. It's a little bit of a mystery. It's very dark and twisted, but it was very good. I really liked the end. I really liked how they wrapped this up. I ate this book up. I think I read this in like one day too. Like, I just sat there and read the whole thing in one day. It was so good. I think a lot of people recommend this next book. It is Bunny by Mona Awad. I think a lot of people recommend this for fall for a very good reason. It's messed up. It's a messed up book. But it's definitely one of those books that I would not read just one time. I would definitely read this and then go back and read it again, because there are things that you read in this book that you don't really pick up until the second time around once you know the ending. Like, once you know the ending, you go back and you're like, oh my gosh. Which is making it hard for me to tell you what this book is about, because I have read it twice, so I realize the little tiny details that you will definitely miss the first time around. but I'm gonna try my best. There is this girl, she's in a writing college. She wants to be a writer. She had an affair with one of the TAs, but then he dumped her. And there is like this clique, and they call each other Bunny, and they make bunnies turn into men. It's weird. It's just a weird time. Please read this. Okay, goodbye. Okay, I only have 4 books left. 4 more books and then we're done. This next book is a fall vibe. I didn't include it in the spiritual book because it isn't a spiritual book, but it is by Matt Haig. It is The Midnight Library. This is about a woman who is self-harming herself and ends up accidentally going into her own personal library in her head. And she gets to try out all these different lives and pick a different life if she so choose. It is very philosophical. It's one of those things where you really think about like the possibilities, what could and could not happen, how you can change your life, how you can make it better, how you can destroy it. You meet some characters along the way. They're very interesting. It's just, I think the ending was a little cheap. I think the ending could have been explored a little bit more. I liked the overall message. I think the overall message was very good. And this felt very fall for me because I just think when I think of fall, I think of a time to reflect and think and process and you know, it's time for life to end so that life can begin. And that's what this book kind of talks about. I do recommend this book though. If you are interested in something that will make you think, will cause you to have some emotions, a little bit of a roller coaster, I do recommend this book. It was pretty good. The Silent Patient. This is by Alex, I don't know how to say his last name, Michaelides? I don't know. It makes me think of Michelag, whatever that beer is. This was a creepy book. This is about a very famous painter who goes silent after her husband is murdered, and everyone thinks that she did it. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I got a visitor. Anyways, so this is about this very famous painter, and she so her husband dies. Everyone thinks that she did it, and so she goes silent. She doesn't talk at all. She's in an asylum, and there is a therapist who is trying to work with her and try to figure out what happened. Once you get to the end and you figure out what's actually happening, I don't want to say the plot twist was very plotty or very twisty. I don't want to say that it was very plotty or twisty, but I will say it was very entertaining. I did stay entertained throughout this whole book, so I recommend. This is a book that is by Ava Reed. I really like Ava Reed's writing. This is called The Wolf and the Woodsman. I recommend this book. It was so good. It is about this girl. She is a wolf, I suppose. She wears wolf skin and there's magic, but she doesn't have any magic. And so the woodsman is part of the kingdom, who is to go into the woods and grab these women who have power and bring them back to the king. And the king uses them, and basically everybody assumes that any of the girls that are taken are killed. They assume that they're killed because they're never returned. They never come back. Her mom was one of the women that were taken. She doesn't have any powers, so she's not in fear of being taken, but the village kind of thinks that she's useless because she has no powers. She cannot help any of the villagers, and so she's kind of ousted. She's like a bit of an orphan, and so they sacrifice her. They make her seem as though she does have powers and give her to the woodsman. The woodsman goes along, figures out that she doesn't have any powers, and is like, what am I supposed to do? I can't bring you back to the king because I will get killed. I will be in trouble. And so they go on this little journey. She is trying to take down this kingdom, and he decides that he is going to help her because he's also unhappy with the way the things are being run. He doesn't agree with a lot of it. It's a little gross at times. I will say it's a little gross at times, but the writing was so good. The twist, it's not even a twist. The journey that you take was really good. You see everything that's going to happen, but the way that it's laid out, the way that it's outlined, it's just really, really great. I do recommend this. I don't even know. I think it's set in fall because look at these colors. Like, it feels like it's set in fall. I recommend this, especially if you like adult fantasy. This is one of those that I would say it's not beginner friendly, but it's not for people who only read fantasy. It's more of those, like, you've gotten 1 or 2 fantasies under your belt and you're ready for the next step up. This would be the next step. That's what I would say. This is the next step. It's a little more complex than Fourth Wing, but a little bit more advanced than Lord of the Rings, if that makes sense. Right? No, wait. It's more than Fourth Wing, less than Lord of the Rings. Did I say that right? I don't know. Just read the book. Just read the book, okay? Just read the book. And then the last book that I have, last but not least, is this. This is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I really loved this book. This is just the fallest of fall books. It's so good. It is about a Southern book club who slays vampires. I mean, I don't know how else to explain this, but it was so good. It was so fun. It's very witty. I really liked the girls. I really liked the ladies. I will say I wished the ending was focused only on the ladies and not their husbands, because they were dumb. So this is set in the late 80s, early 90s. And this is a time where men are still kind of head of household. They're still making a lot of decisions, but women are starting to figure out that they're a lot smarter than their husbands. So I do recommend this book. It was so good, and the mamas that came out baring their teeth, it was good. So I do recommend this, absolutely, especially if you were looking for a book about books in a book club of a book club. It was fun. It was fun. Read it. Just read it. Just read it. Yeah, read it. Okay? Just read it. Okay, just read this one. Read this one. If you read any of the books that I suggested, read all of them, but read this one. That's all of the books. Oh my gosh, there were so many good recommendations in this. I hope that you got something out of it. I hope you got a recommendation, any of the books. I hope you were able to get something. And yeah. Have a great rest of your day, night, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. Please subscribe. Please leave me a comment down below. Any books that you have read that were perfect for fall, that maybe didn't make the list, add them in the comments below. Maybe I haven't read it yet. Maybe I will read it. I don't know. I'm always looking for recommendations, though. Always looking for a good recommendation. But if you liked this, please, again, comment, subscribe, do all the things that help the algorithm. And then I'm gonna go. I have a lot to get done this weekend, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. But please stay a while, okay? Go watch more videos. All right, I'll see you later. Goodbye.